Dandavat Maharaj.
Haribo, Dhanavad.
Dandavad
Jai.
Maharaj.
Pranam, Hare
Sripad
Krishna.
Bhakti Mother Puri
Dhanavad.
Maharaj ki Jai. Dandavat.
Jai.
Sorry. Today the time was running faster, or I was moving slower. I don't know which one was. All right. Everyone okay? Good.
Yes, Maharaj.
Muni Maharaj, how are you doing? Is he okay? You're okay?
Somewhat okay, Maharaj.
Huh?
Okay, Maharaj, I'm okay.
You're okay.
We both got fever, Maharaj, after coming back from Navadvip.
Yes. Did you get checked
And
again?
that we checked, no COVID came before we come here. So there is no COVID, but they say that you cannot catch COVID with the test that they have here.
Oh,
So now the COVID also changed its structure and its symptoms.
yes. It's more virulent,
Yes,
more virulent, and also more fatal than the original one.
yes. Madan Mohan Prabhu, his mother got infected with COVID.
She okay?
She's okay, but she don't have any symptoms like cold or fever. But she has stomach ache and back pain. That
Uh,
is the new symptom for COVID.
yes.
Yes. So,
Not to play around with. I don't think we should play around with that. But Jaya Maharaj is okay.
he was a little worried. He called me a few times and he told that too much corona even in Brindavan. He was saying
Yeah.
so. The UP is completely, the state in which Brindavan comes is like a hotspot. All chief minister, all the ministers, everybody getting corona there. Actually, Madan Mohan Prabhu came there and immediately his mother also got corona, like that.
Yeah. Oh, Gauranga. I cannot let down the guard yet. Still
Yes,
very
Maharaj.
still very prevalent. People are getting a little free in their behavior, despite the danger that's still there.
Yes,
They have to have
two hundred
patience.
thousand cases, Maharaj, per day here.
Wow. That's
They have
big.
to, they have to be patient. Patience and tolerance. And these are required because we'd all like to get back to our original enthusiastic service to the public. Krishna has his own time. He can make it go faster also, I've noticed today. Slower. And
You are feeling okay, Maharaj?
yeah, I'm getting more slow in my actions, that's all, I guess.
That is working still, Maharaj. Jamun powder, keeping the diabetes low.
Yes, it helps. Very nice.
Okay.
I'm afraid, these Ayurvedic medicines, your body gets used to it, and then it doesn't work as effectively.
It does not work. Why it should work,
It
Maharaj?
works, but it seems your body gets used to it, and then it has its own, it does its own thing, despite the availability of the medicines, body wants to go in its own way.
Mm.
Ultimately, we must suffer our karma, whatever fate we have been destined, we have to suffer that. So that's up to me, not up to me, not up to us.
How's pressure, Maharaj. Pressure is somewhat better than before.
I've completely forgotten about that because it's always high. So I just forget about that. And I'm okay. I feel okay. They want me to take medicines that are worse than the problem itself. I find if I just don't worry about it, I feel okay. My body is not as. As you get older, I think your pressure goes up automatically for some reason.
Yeah,
So,
that is because of the constriction of the vessels and there are other few things like that.
uh,
That's why I
anyhow,
suggested that
uh,
if you take lemons, then it should have some beneficial effect.
anyhow, it doesn't bother me. Nothing is bothering me in that category. Usually, I get a headache when the pressure is too high, but I'm not taking anything to raise the pressure. I don't take any salt or anything like that. So, thankfully, Krishna's giving me only one problem at a time to handle, or that I have to worry about. So, anyhow, uh, life goes on. Now, Zana is not coming. She has work today, and your mom is mad at you. We don't know.
Krishna Kesava Prabhu told that she has some questions.
Uh, so let's see, 119. Prasarashru,
Yes,
would you like,
Maharaj.
would you like to lead Kirtan?
All right.
Yes.
Yes, sure,
You're,
Maharaj.
you're so humble and surrendered soul.
Not so much, but trying.
Enough.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
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 Sri
Sri
Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Sri
Advaita
Advaita Gadadhar
Gadadhar
Srivasadi
Srivasadi Gaura
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Bhaktavrinda.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
Sri
Sri
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda Sri
Sri
Advaita
Advaita
Gadadhara
Gadadhar
Srivasadi
Srivasadi Gaura
Gaura
Bhakta
Bhaktavrinda.
Vrinda.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Sri
Sri
Advaita
Advaita Radharani
Radha Shiva Sati
Srivasadi
Gaura
Gaura
Bhakta
Bhaktavrinda.
Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare.
Hare.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai
Nitai
Gaura
Gaur Hari
Haribo,
Bol, Hari
Haribo,
Bol, Hari Bol, Hari
Haribo,
Bol.
Gaura Haribo.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaur
Nitai
Hari
Haribo,
Bol, Hari
Haribo,
Bol, Hari Bol, Hari
Haribo,
Bol, Hari Bol.
Gaura Haribo.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya
Jaya Jaya
Jaya Gurudev,
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 Gurudev.
Gurudev, Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya
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 Gurudev,
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 Jaya Jaya
Gaura Premanande, Hari 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 Bol.
Jai Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev ki Jai. Jai Giri Govardhana ki Jai.
Jai,
Jai Sri Chaitanya
Jai,
Saraswati Bhat ki Jai.
Jai,
Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Institute of Spiritual Culture and Science ki Jai. Jai
Jai,
Bhakti Vedanta Institute ki Jai.
Jai,
Jai,
Jai. And then Jai
Jai,
Srimati Tulsi Devi ki Jai. Jai
Jai,
Sri Navadip Dham, Sri Nrsimhapali, Sri Vrindavan Dham, Sri Jagannath Puri Dham, Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Jai.
Jai,
And Gangamayi
Jai,
Yamunamayi ki Jai.
Jai,
Jai,
Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki Jai.
Jai,
Jai,
Glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the worldwide
Jai,
devotees. Go
Jai.
Premanandi. Hari
Jai,
Hari.
Hari Bol. Jai
Hari Hari Hari
Vishnupad
Bol.
Parampara Jagat Guru Srila Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai,
Srila Bhakti Nishkam Santa Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Muni Maharaj ki Jai. Sripad Rasaraj Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai,
Srimati Uma Devi ki
Jai,
Jai. Srimati
Jai,
Anupriya Devi ki Jai.
Jai,
And Sriman Krishna
Jai,
Kesha Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai,
And Srimati uh, Sh-
Jai,
Sushila
Sharmila,
Shamila.
Sharmila,
Huh?
Sharmila,
Shamila. Shamila. Huh?
Sharmila.
Sarmila. Oh, Sarmila. My other child. And Srimati Sharmila Devi Dasi ki Jai.
Jai,
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Sharmila.
Madevi ki Jai.
Oh, did we forget somebody? Uma Devi? Did I forget
Uma
Uma
Devi.
Devi?
Yes.
Oh, no. Then what else? The next thing that we do is what?
Vandana,
Huh? Avanam, huh?
Vandana.
Headstands.
Headstand. And actually stand on our head. Krishna takes over, tells me. All right. Vandana, page 38. Okay, Vandeham.
Vandeham.
Rasraj, better. You lead. You have your own speed, and we can keep up with you.
Okay, Maharaj. Vandeham.
Shri Guru,
Guru
Shri
Yuta
Yuta,
Padakamalam
Sri Guru
Vaishnavam
Vaishnavamscha
Sri Rupa
Shri Rupa,
Sagrajatam
Sagana Raghunathan
Raghunatha
Vitam
Vitam
Sajivam
Jivam
Advaitam
Sadvaitam
Advaitam
Savadutam Parijana
Savadutam
Sahitam
Parijana
Sahitam
Sahitam
Krishna
Krishna
Chitam
Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha
Sri
Radha
Radha
Krishna
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 Prasad
Prasad Lalitam
Raghunatham Vitam Tam
Vitakam
Sajiv
Vitam Cha Om Jnana
Natimirandasya Jnananjana
Jnananjana
Chakshurunmilitam Yena
Chakrum Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave
Gurave
Namaha
Namaha
Puya Sri Guru Bhargavandita
Bhargavandita Mahabhavanaita Sada
Mahavambita Jasada Parvapara
Paparya
Parampaya
Parampara
Paritada
Kalita Akya
Prajapamukta
Pamukta
Kite
Kite
Guru Bhavista Surakam Guru Gunaira Shisha Shambhushitam
Tam Kinta
Chintya Chintya Samasta
Veda
Vedanipunam
Nipavana
We missed something.
We missed some three
Virupa
lines.
Pantanugam.
We missed 2 lines in the
Oh, I'm sorry.
104. Bhakti Nirmalacharya. Bhakti Nirmala Nirjarhasya.
Vitam
Bhakti Nimala
Tam Rakshakam Sarvaram.
Sangratam Sarasakam Sadaram Vandasi Gurudeva Ganata
Shri Gurudevanata
Srila
Srila
Acharya Varyam
Acharya Varjam
Nijam
Nijam
Gurvavista Supurusham
Sapurakam.
Vanera Shisha
Gurunaira Shisha
Sambhushitam
Sambhushitam
Chinta
Chintya Chintya
Samasta Veda
Samastavedanipam
Niparnam Nirupakam
Nirupa
Thanugam
Pantanugam
Govinda Vitam Ujjalam
Govinda Vidam Ujjalam Bharatanum
Tanum Bhaktan Vitam Sundaram
Bhaktyam Vitam Sundaram
Bande
Vande Vishwa Guru Chadivya
Guruna
Bhagavad
Premna Hi Vijapadam
Premnohi Vijapradam Devam Divyatanum
Divyatanam
Suchandavadanam
Nam Balarka Chelanchitam
Palarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda
Sandranandam Sadaika Varanam
Ekavaranam
Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim
Vairagyavidyam Sri
Sri
Siddhanta
Siddhanta
Srimati Bhakti Rasitam Sarasatanam Varam
Anambaram
Vanditam
Tittam
Tumudam
Padam
Sadekaranam
Sundaranam Nasiswaram Sridharam
Nyasiswaram Sridharam Sri Siddhanta
Sri Siddhanta
Saraswati
Saraswati Vidita Gaudiya
Adito
Gurvanvaye
Gaudiya Guru Ambaye
Hatu
Nato Vanurya Prabhate
Vata Gagane Gaura Sankirtane
Gaura Sankirtanai
Mahabharati
Majavadhara
Mingiladhara Gatana Drita Jivanimam
Gatamudritya Jivanimam
Krishna
Krishna
Premo
Prema
Nidaham
Sadhigana
Sadbhavat Prabhum
Sukha
Tam Bhaje
Tad Prabhu Ambaye Namo
Namo Gaura Kishadharaya Bhakta Bhuta Murtaye
Bhagavad
Gauranghi Padmalingnaya
Durangri Padmabhigaya
Gaurangi Padma Bringaya
Radha Bhava
Radha
Nisevine
Bhava Nisevine
Vande
Vande Bhakti
Bhakti
Vinodam
Vinodam Gaura Sakti Sarupakam
Gaura Shakti Swarupakam
Bhakti Shastra Samgraham
Bhakta Pragya Samgrayam
Radharasa Sudhanidhi
Radha
Radha
Rasa Sudhanidhim
Gaurabhajasi Saswai
Gaura
Vaishnavi
Vrajasi Sesai
Vaishnavir Vande Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum
Navavandya
Vande
Vigraham
Janata Prabham Vande
Jagannatha
Vidya
Prabham
Vaishnavam
Vande
Purnadindra
Premadimbrita Vaishnavam
Vancha
Vanchakalpatarubhascha
Kalpataruvasya Kripa Sindhubheva Cha
Sindhubhya
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavyo
Namo Namaha
Namaha Panchatattvamakam
Tattatvam
Krishnam
Tam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam
Bhaktarupa
Sarupakam
Sarupakam Bhaktavata Krishtam Satyam
Namami
Namami Bhakti
Bhakta
Satyakam
Satyam
Namo Mahavanaya
Mahavandaya
Krishna Prema Sudha
Krishna Prema Pradayate
Pradayate Krishnaya
Krishnaya
Namani
Chaitanya
Guru Tuse
Namne
Namaha
Gora Te Namaha Jayatang Suratau Pambango
Gaur Namandamati Radati
Mamandamate
Masarvadyo
Sarvasya
Gaurabhajo
Radha Madana
Ravandana
Radhamadana Mohano Radharindaranya Kalpadrumadda
Satyavada
Srimad
Radha Singhasan
Radha
Singhanas Nustam
Singhasanastavo Sri Gandharva Sri Devo
Devi Sevanam
Prestalivi Savyamno
Mane
Smarami Sriman Rasarasa
Rasarasamaranvi Vanshivadatada
Vanshi
Stita
Patita
Karshana Venu
Akaram Venu
Saneti
Sanair Gopir
Gopinatha Sri Asana
Gopinata Sri
Gopinata Shresthana
Jeswanaha Vrindayai Tulsidevyai
Deve Vyai
Prijayai
Jaya
Keshavasacha
Krishna
Krishna
Bhakti
Bhakti Pradevi
Bhakti Namo
Bhagavatyai
Namaha
Namo Namaha Atanatra mantra
Guru
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 Om
Bhagavatam
Bhagavatam Vyasan Jagat
Jagat
Guru
Guru
Bhutva
Tato Jaya
Tato
Mudire
Jaya
Jaya
Saparikara
Saparikara Shri Guru Gauranga
Gandharva
Sudarpada
Arapanam
Padapadam
Jayastu
Jayastu
Sri Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya Guru Nityananda
Guru
Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar
Shri
Shri
Sivasi
Advaita Gadadhar
Bhakti Vrinda
Vasari Gaur Bhakta
Srivasadi Gaur
Vrinda
Bhakta Vrinda
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna Hare
Krishna
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 Krishna Hare
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 Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare Rama
Rama Rama
Hare
Rama
Rama Hare
Hare Hare
Rama 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 Hare Hare
Rama Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev ki jai.
Jai,
Jai.
Jai.
Jai Giri Govardhana ki jai.
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 Jai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Hari.
Hari 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 Bol.
Oh, the demigods, they have one day, and it seems like 1,000 years to us. Huh? Their one day is like 1,000 years to us. So those in the higher worlds, they timing is different from ours. 1 minute for them may seem like 2 or 3 minutes for us, depending on where time frame we are in. Uh, I have to be uh, considerate, considerate of the individual time frames. Understand? They're only feeling it is 1 minute or 2 minutes. They're thinking it's how long? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like that. 1 or 2 seconds for them is like 5 or 10 seconds for us. So we have to learn how to adjust according to the consciousness. An important thing to learn. Don't be rushing. You can't rush Krishna. He has his own time. Some people are praying to God. Dear Lord, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And they're thinking it should be granted immediately. Krishna has his own time. You can't tell him, I want this right now. And then you think that, but I'm praying and he's not listening to me. He may be listening, but there's like a different time for him to respond. What you need. And not based on what you need. It's based on what he wants.
Sometimes in Indian, the Vedic literatures, someone prays for something and then the Lord adjusts it after millions of births. Like
I can't hear.
The Lord fulfills their prayer after millions of births.
Yes. His life is like a second for him.
Maharaj?
Yes.
Actually, that Mahaprabhu appears only once in the day of a Brahma. Actually, while we were reading this Navadip Dham Mahatmya book, and in Navadip Bhav Taranga, one article of Srila Sridhara Maharaj is there. He also says the same there, that only once he appears. But I have not find any reference, but he says like that.
I think it does say that. I can't remember either. I think maybe in the Bhagavatam.
Here it is. I pasted Maharaj what he said.
Oh, I see.
There is a avatar. There is a avatar Gaurango and avatari Gaurango. Avatar Gaurango distributes the name to the world. He comes once in every age of Kali. Avatari Gaurango, Radharani and Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna combined comes only once in a whole day of a Brahma, not every age of Kali.
I see. So we are very fortunate, huh?
I like that.
Fortunate he's coming this day. Mama of that when we are here.
Yes.
I think the references are there in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Huh?
The reference for this is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
I think there's a reference in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, no?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Maharaj.
about Krishna. Krishna only comes in a day, once during the day of Brahma. Day of Brahma. I know. Why is that? Hmm? Why is that he only comes one day?
Maharaj, actually, uh, Krishna, as far as Mahaprabhu is concerned, that is the distribution is there, and he comes because Krishna's desires are unfulfilled, and for fulfillment of those desires, he comes as Mahaprabhu. It is necessary because it is connected to Krishna Lila. But why Krishna comes only once, that I remember. But whenever Krishna comes, then Mahaprabhu comes. This much I know. I heard.
What?
I said Maharaj, when
Your sound is coming low, Muni Maharaj.
Uh, the sound is not very good, clear. Cutting. So actually, the incarnations of Krishna are coming like the waves of the ocean. Uh, coming so many times he is coming. But that is not Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan only comes once to show the importance and the difference between Swayam Bhagavan and the other incarnations, or coming as part of the uh, duty, you could say, part of the system that Krishna has set up to appear whenever the uh, necessity arises. Yada yada hi dharmasya galanir bhavati bharat. Know that verse?
yada yada hi dharmasya
Galanir bhavati bharat.
Bharat.
abhyuthanam
What's the
swayam
next?
Dharmasya.
bhavato
Abhidharmasya
Adharmasya.
atmanam sadatmanam
sadatmanam
Sujamyaham.
Srijamyaham.
srijamya
Yes.
srijamya.
Srijamyaham. So whenever there's a need, then Krishna comes to set whenever there's a need, the principles of religion have become distorted, then Krishna comes to set it right. If whether he did not do that, then the whole thing would go to hell. Huh? It would not be able to continue the civilization as it is known today. It would all become corrupt. We don't know. Modern man is so foolish. He doesn't know the importance of religion in maintaining the uh, integrity of human civilization. If that were to disappear, then whole human civilization would also destroy itself. So they don't realize that, and they're in so many ways trying to destroy the religious conception that Krishna Kesava was reading to me something about Marx, in learning about Marx in his philosophy class. And Marx was saying that religions should be eliminated. Uh, eliminate that. They're not a necessary part of the human, uh, not beneficial to the human society. This is quite the opposite of what the Vedas teach. And also Hegel, he shows how religion is a necessary part of the human culture. religions. Why? We did not create this universe. Human beings did not create the universe. They are given the universe to live in when they are born, and yet they want to make the rules how the universe should be dealt with. They did not make that. So Bhagavad Gita is told there's an inbuilt relationship between the Lord and the universe. And if it's not acting properly, if people don't have the proper conception, then some divine intervention comes in place, and that will straighten the thinking of the people back to the proper way of understanding. So this universe is like the correction institute. Huh? What do they call it? Correction institute.
Jail.
Correctional. Yes, jail. Correctional institution. How to correct the improper behavior of the denizens of that institution. Not meant
Maharaj,
only to punish people like that for no reason, but hopefully by punishing, they may come to the correct, proper adjustment. Yes, Shanta Maharaj.
Madhavananda Prabhu was saying me when we were in USA. He was saying that in America, all the like posts, even like there is a officer post, or even like a little lower post, they give such a name that he feel dignified.
Ah,
So
yes. What is that? What do they call the garbage man?
I think like
Sanitary engineer. Huh? The sanitary engineer. So even the garbage man is an engineer in America. Huh? A sanitary engineer. All right. He's picking up your garbage, and he is the engineer. Somebody has to do it, and we are very happy that he is doing that. It's okay. If that makes him happy, then why not? But even we ordinary people are not engineers.
some officers, they call him some officer name. Even I told that something in India, somebody I told the post is peon, and he said that we don't call peon in America, we call it some
Yes.
officer. He was saying. So the Correction Institute is very nice name, Maharaj.
What?
The Correction Institute.
Oh, the Correction Institute. Correctional facility. What do they call it?
Correctional Institute.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyhow.
Correctional institution. Yeah, that's what I call it.
Mani Maharaj? Would you like to sing Yasamati Nandana?
Okay, Maharaj.
Page? Other page?
16.
16.
Link.
Jashomati Nandana Brajavar Nagari Kumaranjana Kana
Jasomati Nandana Brajavara
Basumati
Nagara
Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana
Gopi Paran Dhana Madana Manohar Kaliya Damna Vidhana
Gopi Madan Manohara Kaliyada Mana Vidhana
Damona Vidana
Amala Harina Miya Vilasa
Lo
Amala
Harina Maya Vilasa
Harinam Namiya Vilasa
Ipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bara Vamshi Badana Suvasa
Vipina Purandara
Vipina
Nagara
Purandara
Avinanaganavara
Vansivada Suvasa
Vasa
Braja Jana Palana Asur Kula Nasana Nanda Godana Rakhavala
Jana Palana Surkulana
Guru
Sana
Nanda
Nandodhana Rakhala
Rakoyala
Govinda Madhava Navanita Tasvara Sundara Nanda Gopala
Govinda Madhava
Govinda Madhava
Navadvara
Namanitaskara
Sakara
Sundara
Sundara Nanda Gopala
Gopala
Jamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripamaya
Namanatachara
Tatachara
Yamuna
Gopi
Gopi Anahara
Tatachara
Vasanahara
Gopi
Rasara
Vasana
Rasarasa
Oh,
Kripa
yeah.
Kripamoya
Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Bhakti Vinoda Aspraya
Sri Radha Vallabha
Sri Radha
Vrindavanatara
Vallabha Vrindavana
Vakati
Natara
Vinoda
Bhakti
Aya.
Vinoda Saraya
All right. Thank you. This melody that I learned from Srila Prabhupada had some variation in that basic melody. And then singing Yasomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Parana Dana Madana Manohara Gopi Parana Dana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana, something like that. Some variation in the melody.
Yes,
Have you heard that before?
yeah, many times Maharaj.
Anytime.
But
So
when I sing, I
when
get
you sing it, it's hard to remember that, huh?
no, it gets mixed up between Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada. That's what happens.
Okay. Oh,
Because Guru Maharaj also sang in a very beautiful way this song.
I see. Okay. And oh, what what song do you like to sing, Shanta Maharaj?
What one? Which one you want, Maharaj?
Any one you like. It's okay.
Okay, Maharaj. That one Gurudev's song, Maharaj can sing.
What page?
Let me see, Maharaj. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya.
29. 29.
29.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is here. Your mother?
গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করই দাসে তৃণাপেক্ষা অতি দীন।
Gurudev Kripa
Gurudev Kripa
Kare
Diya
Dase Tirapeksha
Karai Dase Trinapeksha Didina
সকল সহনে বল দিয়া কর নিজ মানে স্পৃহাহীন।
Sakala Sahane Baladiya
Sakale
Koro
Sahane
Nijamane
Bolo Nija
Sriyahina
Koro Niyaman Sprihai
সকলে সম্মান করিতে শকতি দেহনাথ যথাযথ।
Sakala Sapana
Sakale Samana
Bharate Sakti
Korite
Eyata
Sakati Devanata Jata
Tayata
তবে
Jata
তো গাইব হরিনাম সুখে অপরাধ হবে হত।
Tabe Gaiva
Tave to
Harinama
gaibo
Suke
Harinama Suke
Aparada Have
Aparadha Have Hata
তবে হেন কৃপা লভিয়া এ জন কৃতার্থ হইবে নাথ।
Have no kripa Abhijayana Kirata Have Nata
শক্তি বুদ্ধি নামিয়তি দিন করমোরে আত্মসাত।
Shakti Puri
Bhakti
Amyati
Buddhi
Karamore
Namyati Din Koromore Admasata
যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পায় তোমার করুণা সার।
Yogyata Vichare Vishunahi Pai
Yata Vichare Vishnahi
Tomarakarunya
Pai
Sara
করুণা
Tomara
না
Karuna
হইলে কান্দিয়া
Sara
কান্দিয়া প্রাণ না রাখিব আর।
Karuna
Karuna
Noile
Naule Kandiya
Kandiya Kandiya
Kandiya Pranana
Paranaraki
Rakivoara
জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব।
Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya
Gurudeva Jaya
Gurudeva Jaya
Gurudeva
Gurudeva Jaya
জয়
Gurudeva
গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব
Gurudeva
গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব।
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva
Okay. And Uma Devi? Oh, Hare Krishna, Terence.
Hare Krishna. Hello, everyone.
And Uma Devi, would you like to say?
Which one, Maharaj? You tell me, Maharaj.
Oh, whatever one you like.
Anyone, Maharaj.
Anyone. No rock and roll.
Vaishnava Thakur? Vaishnava Thakur?
Huh? Vaishnava? Thakur.
Yeah.
What page?
Page number 58.
58
68.
68 oh.
68.
58.
58.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sagara Idase Karuna Kori
Hoy he Vaishnava Thakura,
Vajradura
Dayara Sagara,
Hoye Vaishnava
Dase Koruna
Thakura,
Kori.
Daya Sagara, Idase Karuna Kori.
दिया पदाचया सदये माया तुम्हारा चरण दारी
Diya pada
Diya
chaya, Sadahiya mai,
Padaya
Tumhara
Parmara
charana
Charana
dhari.
Dhari.
जय वेग दोबी जय दोष सोदी जय गुणा देहदासे
Chaya Vegadobi, Chaya dosa sodi, Jaya
Jaya
guna
Vegadami, Jaya
deodasi.
Dosa Sodhi, Jaya Guna Deodase.
जय सत्संग दिहये हमारे बसती संगे रहासे
Chai Sanga,
Sanga
Dehoye Amare,
Dehoye
Basati
Jaya Sanga
Rase.
Hamare, Osachi Sangira Ase.
एकाकी हमारा नहीं पाया बाला हरिनाम संगीताने
Ekaki Amar,
Ekaki
Nipaye Lal,
Amar,
Harinama
Nipaya Bala,
Sankirtane.
Harinama Sankirtane.
ओमी कृपा कोरी श्रद बिंदु दिया देह कृष्ण नाम दाने
Tumi
Tumi
kripa
Kripa
kori,
Kori Shweta
Tumi
Binda
Kripa Kari,
Namo Dhani.
Sridhara, Deha Krishna Namadhane.
कृष्णा से तुम्हारा कृष्ण दीते पारा तुम्हारा सच
Krishna se
Krishna
tumhara, Krishna
Rama
dite paro,
Krishna
tumhara
Rama
sakti ache.
Sakamara, Tumhara Sakati Ache.
स्वामी कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोले कही तब पाची पाची
Amita Kangal, Krishna
Amita
Krishna
Krishna
Boli,
Kangali
Boli
Daitava
Jai
Amita
Rama
Kangal,
Pachi.
Krishna
Pachi
Bali,
Pachi
Daitava Pache Pache.
स्वामी तो कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोले दही तब पाची पाची
Amita
Amita
Kangal, Krishna
Amita
Krishna
Krishna
Boli,
Boli
Kangal,
Jai
Daitava
Rama
Pache
Pachi
Pache.
स्वामी दही तब पाची पाची
Swami
Daitava
Jai
Pache
Rama
Pachi
Pache.
Pachi
Krishna Dana Pava Siddhaitava
कृष्ण दास
Tava Pache Pache.
पाची
Krishna Dana
Krishna
Pava
Varase,
Adana
Daitava
Daitava
Bharate
Pache
Pache.
Pache
Daitavo Pache Pache.
भूमि दिला कृष्ण दीता पर
Om Dila
Krishna
Krishna
Tumi
Krishna
Dite
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 paro,
Para
dite
Paro.
paro.
कृष्ण तुम्हारा हृदय दाना तुम्हें दिलो दीता पार
Krishna Tumar Hridayer Dhan Tumi
Tumi
Dilo
Dile
Dite Paro.
Dilo dite paro.
कृष्ण देवर शक्ति दारा तुम्हें दिलो दीते पार
Krishna Devar Shakti
Shakti
Dhara
Dara
Tumi
Tumi
Krishna
Dilo
Devaya
Dite
Dite
Shakti
Paro.
Para
Dara. Tumi
वही
dilo dite paro.
वैष्णव ठाकुर दयाल वैष्णव ठाकुर
Dayal
Jaya
Vaishnav
Vaishnava
Thakur, Dayal
Thakur
Vaishnav
Vaishnava
Thakur,
Thakur
Jaya
Thakur Dayal Vaishnav
Vaishnava
Thakur.
Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur.
मतलब भक्ति
Haribo.
विनोद ठाकुर शुरू हुए
Jai.
And then Uh, Krishna Keshav, which one do you want to chant?
It's very hot here, Maharaj.
Really?
Yes.
You have fans, Maharaj? Do you have like fans?
If I switch on the fan, then it will be too much noise here.
Ah,
Page 68, Karma Karuna. Parama Karuna Pahudui Jana Nitai Gora Chandra
Paramakara Ahunduye Janna Nitai Gurachandra
Dui Jana Nitai Gora Chandra
Sabha Avatara Sarashiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda
Sarvabhatara
Avatar
Shiramani
Karashir Bhavani
Kevalananda
Devananda
Kanda
Kevala Ananda Kanda
Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrita Vishvasakari
Bhaja
Bhaja Bhaja
Bhai
Bhai
Bhaja
Chaitanya
Bhaja
Nitai
Nitya
Chaitanya
Sudhira
Nitai
Vishvasakori
Sudha Vishwasakori
Vijaya Chandiya Serase Majiya Mukhi Bolo Hari Hari
Vishaya
Vishaya
Chadiya
Chadiya
Tirase
Sera Seva Jiya
Majiya Mukhe
Vishaya
Bolo
Bolo
Hari
Chadiya
Hari
Terase Majiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari
Muke bolo
Ekore Bai Tribhuvane Nai Emanadaya Ladata
देखो रे
Eo Re
भाई
Pai
त्रिभुवन नाय
Nikare
अनदयाल
Emanadaya
दाता
Nai Emanadaya Ladata
Pashupaki Jure Pashana Vidhare Suniyara Gunagata
पशुपाखी झूरे
Pashupaki Jore
Pasupati
Pasanavi
अनविदारे
Jore
Jure
Duniyara
सुनियार
Gunagata
Suniyare
गुणगाता
Sujana Gunagata
Samsara Ajiya Rahipadiya Separe Naya Asa
Samsare
से मजिया
Majiya
रही
Rahila
पड़िया
Padiya
से
Samsare
परे नहीं
Majiya
से
Padaya
आसो
Rahili Padija Se Pade Nahila Asa
Apanakarama Punyaya Samana Kahaye Lochana Dasa
अपना करम जाए समना
Punaya Samana
कहे लोचन
Ayelo Chanada
Lochana Dasa
Parama Karuna Paudui Jana Nitai Rachandra.
Param Karuna
Paramakaru
Nidana
Gauru
Sai
Karunijana
Gaura
Sai
Chandra
Gaurachandra
Sabha Avatara Sarashiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda.
Tavavatara
Avatar
Sarashiramani
Shiramani
Kevali Ananda Kanda
Kevala Ananda Kanda
Jaya Chaitanya Jaya Chaitanya Nitai, Chaitanya Nitai, Jaya Chaitanya Nitai.
Jaya Chaitanya Nitai Jaya Chaitanya Nitai
Chaitanya
Chaitanya Nitai
Nitya
Jaya
Jaya
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Nitai
Nitya Jaya Chaitanya Nitya Jaya Chaitanya Nitya
Nitai Gaura, Jai Gurudev.
Therese, you want to read the English?
Oh, sure. Thanks. Thank you. Nitai and Gaurachandra are the two most merciful lords. They are the best, the crest jewels of all avatars, and the only source of joy. They are the only source of joy. Nityananda and Gaurachandra,
Gaura.
Gaurachandra are the only source of joy. O brothers, serve, serve Sri Chaitanya Nitai with firm faith. Leave aside worldly affairs, merge into this rasa, and chant aloud Hari Hari. Chant aloud Burahara. Give up mundane talk and chant aloud Burahari. Give up village talk and chant aloud Burahari. Oh, brother, look, there are no benefactors in the three worlds as merciful as them. Who else is so merciful? Who is as merciful as Nitai and Gora? They endure even being beaten, and yet they ask their aggressors to accept the holy name and divine love. Who else is so merciful? Hearing of their glory, birds and animals cry and stones melt. Fallen and immersed in samsara, I never aspired for their feet. Now Yamaraj subjects me to my karma. So says Lokandas. Srila Lokandas Thakur.
It's pronounced Lochan.
Lochan.
Yes. So, Chandra, you know the meaning? Or Chandra. Chandra means moon. Chandra is just as the moon, name of the moon. And Gora, golden.
Ah.
So the golden moon. Mahaprabhu, color of Mahaprabhu is golden. Called the golden avatar. Coming in the mood of Radharani, he takes that golden complexion. Radharani also has a golden complexion. Krishna is in a dark complexion, more blackish or grayish, and Radharani golden. So what's the difference? Why such a vast difference? Krishna darker color, Radharani very light color, brilliant color. What is the meaning? Huh?
One is
Krishna.
What is it? Huh? What is the meaning of their color? Dark color and brilliant color.
Krishna is dark color because Krishna is hidden, and we're only seeing Krishna, we're only seeing God by his manifest energies. And Radharani is his energy Shakti. She's She's that bright golden color. She's the radiance of Krishna. She's what is manifesting to us.
Okay, that's Krishna. Krishna is the potent, and Radharani is the potency. Yeah? The potent and the potency. What is potent? Just like in a rock, when a rock, big rock is on the top of a hill, top of a mountain, not yet over the edge, but near the edge. There's a potent. It has potency too. It has the ability. The potent means it has some potential to for something. So when the potential of the rock on the edge of the cliff is there, it means you push the rock off the cliff, and then you'll see the potential that was there. That rock can cause a lot of change when it comes off the cliff, comes down, and it will change so many things. It has the power to change so many things. But in its power, in its potential form, we don't see anything. We don't see what the rock can do. Then we call that dark. That potential is dark. We don't see what it's capable of. But when it shows a capacity, when it shows its power, then we know what was locked in there. So Krishna is like that, the potent, and Radharani is what comes out, the potency and the power, the Shakti. Krishna is the Shaktiman. He is the one who holds the energy, contains the energy, generates the energy within himself, and it comes out in Radharani form. Krishna's potency is his service, his devotional, his loving service, his love. He has the ability to manifest love in all of us by his attractiveness, his beauty, his sweetness, his charm. By that, no, but it's not shown until his devotees demonstrate that in their lives. The Lord's love, the prem, bhakti is there within the Lord, his divine energy, and yet it doesn't show itself except when the devotees take up that devotional service of the Lord, demonstrate, manifest their loving attraction for Krishna. And we understand, how much affection, how much attraction Krishna has to be able to engage so many devotees in such highly ecstatic poetry and other activities that the devotee shows how much his attraction and love for Krishna is there. So there's a reciprocal relation, Krishna and his devotees. He cannot demonstrate his features on his own. His wonderful features, transcendental features, are there, but they do not manifest themselves except in the relationship he has with the gopis, with Radharani, and so forth. The transcendental mystery, and it's represented in these two colors, black and gold. Understand? Understand?
So Mahaprabhu is golden.
Mahaprabhu is taking the form of Krishna in the form of Radharani. It says that what this is telling us is that there's no difference between the black and the gold. Black and gold are the same thing. And you never can separate the sun rays from the sun. The sun has the capacity to produce sun rays. And the sun rays come out because it's there in the sun globe. That capacity is there in the sun globe. Then the rays come out. But you can never separate sun rays and sun globe like that. That we can do analytically, from an analytical point of view, but really, actually, sun and sun rays. How we are? Is there anything in our experience where we could say there's a sun globe and no sun rays, uh, or only where there are sun rays and no sun globe? No, we have no experience of such a thing, and we can even imagine how such a thing is possible. Yet we speak of them as different. Yet they are one. Achintya Bheda Bhed. One
There's a
and different
song, Maharaj.
simultaneously. What is that song?
There is a song Bhakti Thakur has written. आतप रहित सूरज नहीं जानी राधा विरहित माधव नहीं मानी, saying that without sun rays there is sun, I don't believe it. Similarly, without Radharani, Krishna is there, I cannot accept it.
Huh. Yes. These mysteries of the spiritual science are there. And people in general, they may claim to be religious and so forth, but they don't know these things, most fundamental things. How Vaishnavism has explained these things in great detail by the mercy of uh, Krishnadas Kaviraj and Vyasadeva and the teachings of Mahaprabhu. Beautiful things are there, are locked in the Vedas, and people may know them their whole life and not understand their meaning. The words, but the meaning, significance, they're not so clear about. So we have to understand very important things.
Maharaj, this is something which is we read about in scriptures that are very old historically, but we can understand once we hear these concepts that this is not something that becomes outdated. This is an eternal truth about ontological truth.
They call it axiomatic truth. Axiomatic. Just like you say 2 plus 2 equals 4 for Pythagoras. Thousands of years ago, he said 2 plus 2 equals 4. And then we cannot say that's old theory. That's old knowledge. Knowledge does not. Truth is not like that. Truth does not get old. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Then and now and in the future, 1 million years, it will be the same thing. If it changes, then we have a problem. Science changing its theory every 50 years. A new theory comes. Prabhupada told that that is not knowledge. That means mistake. That is mistake. That is not truth. That is a mistake. Scientists are telling us this is this, this is that. Then 50 years later they say, no, that is this and that is this. This is that. Then they made a mistake. And not the progress of knowledge. It's from one mistake to the next. Mistakes don't last very long. But knowledge is eternal. That is the difference. So we have to understand what is what. Then we will be fixed. In Bhagavad Gita, it said, Dehi nosmin yata dehi kumaram yovanam jara. As the soul passes from boyhood to youth to old age. So one who is wise and not afraid of changing the body. He has that wisdom, he has that knowledge that he's not the body. He's already changing bodies. That death is only another change of body. Then what is the problem? Why you are so afraid of death? So that was true then, and it is true today also. No, you are changing your body regularly. You don't have your body you were born in. It's all gone. But you are not gone. So like that. These truths are eternal.
Maharaj,
Yes.
The truth that in material world, with our mundane ability that we want to understand, that is always changing. But what about the spiritual, the knowledge? Is it not also always also enhancing? Like Srila Sridhar Maharaj was talking with one devotee. He was telling that the Christianity, the Christians sometimes say that this is all what the highest thing, not beyond anything exist. Then
Mm.
Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying, is Jesus finished his progress? There is no more progress to be made. So I mean, the infinite, the plane of reality. So there is always some progress is there. So how that is correlated with this, the mundane, way of knowing.
Well, our knowledge does increases, yes, but whose knowledge? Huh? Where how much we know, that may increase, but the knowledge doesn't change. It was there already, but we are becoming exposed to it. That's all. We are becoming aware of it. Recollection. Plato called it recollection. Education is to draw out. Eh means from. Ducare. To draw, huh? To draw. Ducare. Ducare. In Latin, and ducare. Means from. Ducare means to draw. To draw from. And not pouring in. And not putting something in. When you educate someone, you're not putting something in them. You're drawing something that is already there out and bringing them recollection what they have forgotten. And Plato proved that by taking a slave person, slave boy, and having him derive some equation. Huh? I don't remember the example, but anyhow, that slave boy who had no knowledge of geometry was able to give a geometric proof by some help from Plato, showing that their knowledge was there and he had to just bring it out. Educare, that's education. What you can allow the student to recall. So he told that the teacher is like a midwife. You know what a midwife is? Huh? Midwife? They help to give the birth. Huh? The woman can give birth with the help of the midwife. So like that, the teacher is like a midwife. That knowledge is there in the student. He has to help bring it to attention, his consciousness. That's all. So all is there. Everything is there. Why is all that knowledge there in us? Huh? That is God. That is Krishna, Paramatma. Uh, Antaryami means the inner existence of God within everything and everyone. So that's all there. Krishna is already there in our hearts. But we are not aware. We are not paying attention to that higher truth, which is our own substantial being. Our own substantial being is Krishna himself, his energy. There in full potency, infinitely, and so forth. That is his uh, all pervading existence, Paramatma. Ah. So these things are very important uh, and have been completely forgotten in today's world, where they're trying to fill up so many different ideas into the students that they become drowned in the ocean of ignorance, nescience. And instead of education, they are becoming more ignorant, more foolish of the truth that lies within them. And like putting mud in a glass, putting muddy water in the glass. If the muddy water fills up the glass, how you could put any clean water in there? Uh, You won't be able to add anything. It's all full of mud. Unless you take the mud out, then the clean water can be seen. The dirt has to be removed. Then you can see everything clearly. All right. You want to say something?
Can I read the shloka?
Huh?
Can I read something from Bhagavad Gita?
I don't know if they can hear you.
I can do it. I just wanted to read in relation to this Krishna's answer to Arjuna about what knowledge is in Bhagavad Gita. It's chapter 13, text 12. Amanitvam adam ditvam ahimsak shantir arjavam acharyo pashanam saucham staryam atma vinigraha indriyarteshu vairagyam ahankara evacha janma mrityu chara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam ashaktir anabhishvanga putradhara grihadishu nityam chasamachithatvam Isthanishto papatiju mahichananya yogena bhaktir avyabhitarani vivikta desha sevitvam aratir jana samshadi adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam idhach jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yad atonyata. And that's what Krishna said knowledge was. Humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from the entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant circumstances, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. And this was from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada. And then he gives a very long purport about unpacking that a bit and relating it a little closer to modern society. But that might be too long to read.
No mention of physics or chemistry or economics, trade, government. The movies. The amusement parks. Nothing is there. Only how to build the character. That which builds character. That is knowledge. Which builds your character.
Many times, I think, Maharaj, in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada also told, understanding the difference between matter and spirit is knowledge.
Explain there. One of the items.
That shloka is from that chapter called Difference Between Matter and Spirit.
Yes. So, education means to build character. That is completely neglected in the modern system. Character is the last thing they think about. Only how to be a good mathematician, how to be a good English writer, all these things, how to do on the computer some calculations, Excel or Word, huh? How to
Programming.
become a successful businessman or whatever you want to do, some skill, how to run the machine or making some mechanical gadget. No character reference is made in a modern education system. So, according to Krishna, it is all ignorance. What they are teaching is all ignorance. Huh? Huh? And the Delphic oracle or something in the German, Greek tradition, it is said, above all else, know thyself. Uh, above all else, know thyself. How much importance they placed on the self character development. If you are developing all other kinds of so called skills and whatnot, and not learning development of character, then you cannot be said to be an educated gentleman or lady. Hmm? Only polished animal, Prabhupada told. They are basically animal consciousness with some skills. Who can use a computer? Oh, very nice. Huh? You have a good job awaiting you. Uh, we have so many polished animals that we are paying to use the computer. So, unfortunately, this is the situation. You ask what is knowledge, not one of those things will ever be told. And what is, if you ask a modern person, what is knowledge? None of that, which is mentioned in the Gita. But is it any less true today than it was then? You say, well, that's old fashioned. And therefore, we see people going out and police are shooting everyone.
Suicide rates are going up, Maharaj. They are so much in anxiety.
Uh, suicide, that stress, strain, this, that, the other thing. They're not uh, becoming more compassionate to others. Selfish desires are being fulfilled and they are fighting one another. In the shopping center, when there's a sale, they're running one over one another, walking over one another to try to get to the goods before somebody else does. Right?
That's what we see a lot on the news, no doubt. But what about the people who are in material culture still, but in the sattvic plane, where they are compassionate for other people and they're, a little more considerate and all that, but they don't really seek after what is the absolute truth and why is that important? What is self-realization? Why is that important? But they're still in sattva gun. They don't do all that
Like
nonsense.
like Karna.
Yeah. And then how to understand, like the difference between material happiness and spiritual happiness. Because sattvic people are are happy materially, but they don't really understand or know what is the true
Like I
value.
said, again, they are not educated. They don't know what education is. And they're educated in a so called wrong way. Uh, so, without understanding those things, which Krishna himself mentions is what he considers knowledge, without not having any of those things in their life, then we cannot accept that they are properly educated.
Slaughterhouse,
Standard,
Prabhupada told.
standard is there. Everywhere there must be a standard of education. Who's the better Who's the best authority to establish what is education or what is knowledge than God? God Himself, Krishna Himself. He can establish what is the most important thing that we should learn in life, what this life is meant to learn, what we are meant to learn here. Not just some way to appear like a educated human being, but to actually be educated, uh, to know what is the spiritual dimension of existence, not to be totally ignorant of that. Uh, have some knowledge of that. What is the difference between the spiritual and the material? I must have that, at least that minimum understanding. What is the difference between the body and the soul? Uh, so one may go around doing so many so-called good things, but if they don't know what is what, and they cannot talk to others and explain that what is what, then they're both a very nice person, but they are in ignorance, and they will both go to hell smiling at one another. Uh, they want to help others. Don't simply smile at them and make them feel good about their ignorance and your own ignorance. That won't help anybody. That's going on in this world. Uh, I mentioned something like that in the Bhagavatam. Smiling at one another, they glide down to hell uh, in their ignorance. So we have a higher conception. We are learning from the acharyas, the great sages, the saints, the Mahajans. Mahajans means the greater people, the wise people, uh, who have a vision of things that are different from the ordinary persons. And we must pay attention to them. Any knowledgeable person, educated person, will know that. Huh? If you are educated, when you come across someone who is educated, you will know. Oh yes, there is an educated person. Huh? You know from your own experience of what is education. Huh? Foolish persons, they will go to some demagogue. Demagogue like Trump. There's Trump. So many popular, become so popular. Huh? And they are so much enamored of him. And who is he? What kind of a man? What kind of character is he? I don't know what they see, but anyhow, they are attracted to that uneducated man. Yeah, no, he has no degree.
Businessman.
In any field, he has no degree, and still he is telling people to do this, do that, and they're listening. And now they're having a big debate. That is, should they allow him to have a place on the Facebook where he can present his
He's
nonsense?
banned. He's
His,
banned,
his,
Maharaj.
he's banned for now. And there's now Facebook has made a council where people from different walks of life, they can decide, is this man, should he be allowed a platform to present his ideas to people, or should he be restricted? It's a big problem because you want to give freedom of speech to everyone. We don't want to let anyone feel that they don't have a place in the society to participate. Yet, those who are speaking things that are not, first of all, not, they have to be truthful. One has to try to give truth to people. Don't give lies and say that this is the way things are. Huh? And there's a very important thing. Person is going to only present lies to people. And to propagate that misinformation, is that to be allowed? Huh? Now, to tell is a person giving a truth or a lie. That's another thing. someone actually believes that it's like this. I won the election, and others cheated. Then what do you do? Uh,
He still not
so
accepted the
you have
defeat.
to look at the evidence, the logic. So many things, right, are required. I can't say, no, no, this is my idea, this is the way it is, and if you don't listen to me, I'm going to knock your windows out and push the doors down and come after you with a stick and so forth and so on. Right? If you're teaching this, then should that be part of free speech? Hmm. Well, we have to consider intelligent person has to consider. Even just the Second Amendment in the Constitution here in the U.S., the right to bear arms. It doesn't mean every crazy person can have a gun. Huh? Every violent
This,
man should have a gun. So like that.
this, this social media become very big problem. Even in India, they can make truth as something false, and what is false they can make is a truth by sending so many repeated messages by so many people.
Yes.
Actually, they make
So
it viral.
then, I like the atomic bomb. Huh? Atomic bomb is also a very amazing invention, and it can do much good. Atomic, not atomic bomb, but atomic energy can light a city. Uh, Light a city, heat the homes, and this way produce some good in the society. But it also has some bad properties. That power can be used to kill people, to wipe out a city, destroy the city. The radiation can also kill people. Just even you use it for good purposes, the radiation is there, and it can cause great damage, just like they had in Japan when that what is that tsunami came, and our atomic power plant was inundated with the sea water, and the whole thing has got uh, broke down, and the radiation came out, and now they have to think what to do with all that radiated water. So man is creating so-called solution, and in that solution is also creating more problems, more unsolvable problems than he had to begin with. I think there's some verse like that in the Bhagavatam also. The cure is worse than the disease that you're trying to cure. If you have to take a cure for some disease, and that cure turns out to be worse problems uh, than the disease itself, right? Some side effects. They have all these things that have side effects nowadays, uh, and those side effects prove to be more dangerous. I was retaking. The doctor told me to take one medicine, um, and in the medicine itself, it said, if you take this, then you may die. Your kidney, your pancreas may be destroyed. your, your thyroid will get some cancer, and like this. I don't know. There was a whole page, 2 pages full of side effects.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And what should you do? If you take it, it will help you, but then it will also do these things. Uh, Better to die from the disease than to risk like that. What could happen?
Mm.
Anyhow, so these basic things are so important to know. But people are busy in their lives going on as if everything is hunky dory, and they don't want to take the time. Uh, Take the time. Hare Krishna.
I have a question.
Yes.
So in the translation that Krishna Keshava read, it says, I understand the humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, all that. But then it goes on to say detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest. So, I mean, how does the world, I mean, eventually, I don't mean, I don't understand that part.
In the purport, Maharaj. Shall I read the purport?
No.
This small portion.
Yes. Okay.
I could read it later, actually. It's in it, so it explains it.
Hey, all right. Let Krishna Keshava read what he wants first. Then I'll give my interpretation.
As for detachment from children, wife, and home, it is not meant that one should have no feeling for these. They are natural objects of affection. But when they are not favorable to spiritual progress, then one should not be attached to them. The best process for making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness. If one is full in Krishna consciousness, he can make his home very happy, because this process of Krishna consciousness is very easy. One need only chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna. Have some discussion on books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and engage oneself in deity worship. These four things will make one happy. One should train the members of his family in this way. The family members can sit down morning and evening and chant together. If one can mold his family life in this way to develop Krishna consciousness, following these four principles, then there is no need to change from family life to renounced life. But if it is not congenial, not favorable for spiritual advancement, then family life should be abandoned. One must sacrifice everything to realize or serve Krishna, just as Arjuna did. Arjuna did not want to kill his family members, but when he understood that these family members were impediments to his Krishna realization, he accepted the instruction of Krishna and fought and killed them. In all cases, one should be detached from the happiness and distress of family life, because in this world one can never be fully happy or fully miserable. Happiness and distress are concomitant factors of material life. One should learn to tolerate as advised in Bhagavad Gita. One can never restrict the coming and going of happiness and distress, so one should be detached from the materialistic way of life.
So we have to understand Krishna consciousness is about consciousness. Huh? What is your consciousness? Just like we were saying, education. Education is for developing character. And character is the quality of consciousness. Huh? Stones are not peaceful or angry or jealous. Huh? We can't expect the animals or the stones or whatever to develop those qualities. We are human beings. We have the capacity to somewhat influence our own moods and mentality. With proper association, we can do that. So the thing is that in devotional life, there are families, there are parents, there are children in the Vaishnava community. There are no absence of those things. Even in Krishna's life, he had his parents, he had his brother, his sister, his friends, his lovers, boyfriends and girlfriends. He had everything. He went to school. He had his guru. So how can he tell us that these things are no good? They are part of his arrangement. But what is good and concerned with is our consciousness. What are we? What is our? What are consciousness means? What I'm aware of. What I can. How. What I am aware of determines how I deal with things. If I have a higher developed consciousness, then we deal with things in a different way than who does not have that. For instance, like an art critic who is trained in art and artistic, has some artistic training, and what is aesthetics, and the study of the different historical artists and so forth, paintings and whatnot, sculpture, architecture. They have some background in that, and they can tell when they look at a painting, oh, this is a very wonderful, beautiful piece of work, piece of art. Whereas an ordinary person who has no background, they'll look at a painting and I think, oh, this would look nice in my living room, or this won't go with my furniture, or something like that. You know? They wouldn't have that finer sense. So it depends on the consciousness, the development, the education, the character development. All those things are important. And just like a devotee, he knows that the system, whole system of reality, is a purposeful one. He knows that there is God, and the purpose of each life is to render service, is to be of service to that supreme reality who is personal. We have service. And it's not merely to take advantage, exploit the environment according to their own determinations. That fundamental idea is there in the devotee. The devotee means who is devoted from his heart to the service of the Lord, to satisfying the Lord. If the whole system is created like that, why are we here? Why is this universe? What is all this stuff about? The devotee knows what that answer is. It's all the creation of the Lord for his satisfaction. And by that process, we also become fully satisfied. He becomes satisfied, and we become satisfied. So why buck the system? And those who are not in knowledge of that, they are simply creating disturbance for themselves and others. So with that understanding, with that consciousness, that pure heartedness, and that knowledge, transcendental knowledge, they can conduct their lives in any way they want. And married life, and renounced life. And it's not a question of what type of life. It's a matter of what type of consciousness you have. When you have that consciousness, devotee consciousness, then you don't like to associate with anyone who doesn't have that, because their consciousness is leading them to so many mundane things, things that are not related to the spiritual development, to the development of the character. But they lead to attachment to so many things that actually detract from that spiritual culture, that transcendental achievement that a devotee seeks satisfaction in. So we have to be sensitive, and we have to be attuned to that, first of all, to the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, and then to the life of the Krishna conscious person, and make that our focus when we are doing things and trying to engage in different activities.
Maharaj, there is a sloka in Bhagavatam
Oh yes,
that is Varijano na sasya, guru na sasya,
yes,
like like that. The
Yes, yes.
relative is not
Uh,
relative. The
Guru is not guru. All these things are there. Teacher is not a teacher. A child is not a child, and a parent is not a parent. Who cannot liberate us from the cycle of birth? Not only that, but who cannot give us our highest goal of achievement, Krishna consciousness? Not only negative, but also positive. Uh, they're not serving their function, their constitutional nature, and not recognized by them. What they are constituted of. They are constituted as soul is the constitutionally the servant, the pleaser of Krishna. And if the soul is not doing that, then it's not going in the right direction. And who will tell a child doesn't know what to do in their life? What parent will not tell them, go in this way, go in that way, give them some advice? But if the parent themselves don't know that, then what use is to listen to them, what they say? They don't know what is the proper direction themselves. And how the child can accept that advice if he is sincere to want to know what is the proper thing, what is the proper life, how is also all created, and what is my role in that creation of the Lord. So many don't know this, and especially in today's world, atheistic, no concept of God whatsoever, and how God is intimately connected with everything in our life. So we want to find those who can guide us properly, and we try to deal with others who don't know those things, how to educate them, how to help them understand the same thing. We like to live peacefully and lovingly with the whole environment. They want that. Uh, that is Krishna's plan. Well, we should not leave out God. That's all. Huh? Saraswati Thakur told there's only one scarcity in this world. That is Krishna consciousness. Everything else there's plenty, but the scarcity is there. The missing link. I know. Devotee is of the such nature that he does not want that central point to be missing in his life or her life. That's all. But not everyone is of the same consciousness. So there are difficulties due to that factor. Or at least the minimum consciousness of Krishna consciousness that is missing in certain, and not, that is not there in everyone. And for those persons, there is some difficulty, especially if we try to relate to the devotees without that fundamental uh, part of our heart missing, then some uh, pain, some suffering. Uh, we want to change the situation, but we don't want to change ourselves. Krishna tells us how we have to come, right idea. But we are reluctant to listen to that. And what to expect? Then you know that uh, story I think I told you that one child, his mother used to tell him, "Oh, go steal some television, steal the radio, go steal a refrigerator." Like this, all these big things. The mother would tell the child to go do, take those things. One day he went to some store to steal something, and the owner had a gun. And they put down those things, or I'll shoot. So he also had a gun, and he shot that man, instead of being shot by him. And police caught him. You are a murderer. You are going to the electric chair. Then their tradition in the person who is going to be killed in the jail and the system, upon a correctional facility, whatever, that if a person is not going to change, then they kill them, right? Something like that. Anyhow, they generally have a tradition where, all right, we're going to kill you now. Would you like a nice meal? What kind of things would you like to eat? In a very nice way, we can provide anything, steak or spaghetti or whatever you like. And you also, is there anyone else you like to talk to from your family, the priest or whatever? And they give them all opportunity before they uh, cut off their head or whatever. Then that man who was put in the jail and now in the going to the electric chair, and he was asked, "Who would you like to see? The last person you'd like to talk to?" And he told my mother, "I want to see her." So and they took. Prabhupada told us this story. So they took the mother to the jail, and behind the bars, the prisoner was there, about to be executed. And the mother came, and the police told, "Look, your son wants to see you. He's going to be killed shortly." "Oh, okay, I'm coming." "Yes, son, what do you want? You wanted to see me?" And he said, "Yes, mother, come here. I want you to tell you something secretly in your ear." So the mother came, and she put her ear next to the bars, where this, and that man bit her ear off. Uh, why did you treat your mother like this? So he told she was the one that encouraged me to do these things, and now this is my position, and I wanted to pay her back. Oh, so the moral is this: we don't know the proper way to direct people, then we are doing great harm to them. We may think we're doing good, but we're doing harm, and they will have to suffer. So that's not. We don't encourage that kind of behavior in society. If you don't know what is good, then you should not give instruction. You should become instructed. You need instruction. Then you may have a very nice life, helpful to others.
So, can I say something?
Of course, you're welcome.
So, I obviously I was raised as a Christian, as a Catholic, and I used to go to Catholic school, 8 years of Catholic school, and I went to church without the influence of my parents because they didn't go to church. But I wanted to go to church. I believed in going to church. I felt good going to church. I learned the 10 Commandments, and I thought the 10 Commandments were great things to live by, right? Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, all to me, that was all good stuff. So that's how I modeled my life, in goodness and kindness and loving people and not bringing harm to others. And that's just the way I chose to live my life, because that's all I had exposed to me. Why would that be the wrong way to live, or the ignorant way to live, or a bad way to raise my child? If it's good.
Well, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about that, except that what Krishna is teaching us, we are trying to follow that. And we accept that as the proper conception for our life, guiding our lives. Now, sometimes in the family, one person may want to become a Krishna devotee, Another person may want to be a devotee
That,
of Christ.
that's nothing wrong with that.
Uh,
There's nothing wrong with that, and
yeah,
I fully
but
accept freedom of
yeah,
choice.
yes, but where there are differences in those two conceptions, we have to accept that also. We have to accept that there may be differences. So it doesn't mean that one is right, the other is wrong, but there are differences. There are differences, and that is real, and we have to respect that.
I do,
Not not everyone is the same.
I do,
Uh,
but I
so
feel like
I
I
don't try.
I accept all people as long as they're good. They're not harming others. They have
Yeah,
different beliefs, different versions
yeah.
of God. It's all good. It's
Then
all
what's
good.
the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem?
Yeah, well, the problem is then I feel like there's separation and denouncement of people that don't believe the same way when I don't think things should be that way. I mean, that's again, it's me. I think we should be accepting of all people and their beliefs as long as they're not causing harm to people, and as long as they're loving people and they're
Okay.
and they're doing good in the world.
Well, yeah, but then you are not misunderstood what I said already. What I was talking about. Everyone thinks they are doing the right thing. Mother was thinking she was right, telling the child to steal. She was thinking that was the right thing, but unfortunately, it had bad consequences. So that is a point. We cannot say, "Oh, you are a thief. That's very nice." Uh, if a person is a thief, we should say, "You are a thief." Doesn't mean we have to hate that person, but he's not doing the right thing, or she. And we have to make that clear. This is not the right thing. Then, not that you're saying you're denouncing someone, not loving them. It is also love to not to tell what is right and wrong. Uh, so there's nothing wrong in that. But we have to be open to accepting correction sometimes. If we feel that we are doing something wrong, if we are convinced, or if someone else will constantly repeat, this is wrong, and then we think, well, I'm right in my way, then what to do? There's a disagreement, a difference. And then we have to accept that. Well, I'm not seeing it in the same way you are. Okay, fine. Uh, but you have to recognize where the problem is coming from. It's not in what the view that people have. It is how they are uh, accepting that as their way or a different way.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
People should be free to choose what they believe in, but I
Yes.
don't think we should be saying everyone else is wrong.
No,
Everyone.
no. You're not. Again, you're saying that let's say between a Christian and a Krishna devotee, that Krishna devotees are condemning others. Why? Because they're not having Krishna at the center of their life. And then you're saying, well, that kind of thing is not what Christians believe. We believe you are a child of God and you can do what you want in this world. Huh? And then you say, well, you're condemning others and we're saying everything is okay, and there's some conflict. But then you're not recognizing the fundamental consciousness of a Krishna devotee, which is having Krishna directly connected with their existence and always connected with everything they do. And if we don't accept that, then we'll feel they are being against all of us mortals, all of us material persons who have a different idea than them. What to do? That is the philosophy. That is our conception. That is our life. That is what devotee, the word devotee itself explains what devotees are. They are devoted to Krishna. That's all. If you can understand that much, you understand
I
why
do.
everything else is rejected. Uh, what is not devotional, that is exploitational. And devotees reject that, yes, no problem. Clear and
One of the
simple.
limb of surrender, Maharaj.
Uh, that is central point. And if we can't grasp that central point, then we have not understood what is devotee. And we
Right.
may not be devotee. That's okay. That is your freedom.
Mhm.
But we are a devotee doesn't give that freedom to himself not to be a devoted servant. He doesn't accept that. And he says, if you do that, that's your business, but we don't accept that. And if you call that rejection of others, then what to say? Yes,
No,
it is true.
no. Yeah, I do understand what you're saying. I understand what it means to be a devotee. I've been here for over 2 years now, learning and understanding it. But when you say everyone else is ignorant
We
because
don't
they,
say. We don't say. Krishna
but you
says.
said that.
Yes,
I
Krishna says.
know.
Krishna
That's
says
what I
that.
understood. That everyone else is ignorant. It's.
Yes.
But
Why?
we're not ignorant. We may be ignorant about Krishna
Krishna?
consciousness, but we have our own knowledge that it aligns with us, that works for
Yeah.
us. But
Yes.
that doesn't mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you can't impose your ideas on others, right?
I believe that totally.
So, I
Totally.
know what to do. So you think that people who believe that those who are love Krishna and think everyone else is sinful, they are wrong.
I didn't, I just, not
They
that
are
they were wrong.
that they
That's not
that
my
they think
statement.
every. Well, you're saying that to think that devotee is rejecting others because they are not devotees, then you feel that is not the right attitude to take. What are you saying? That is something wrong with that kind of thinking? Huh? Oh. If you think this man is a thief and it is not good to reject that kind of behavior. And some people may think, no, that's how I make my living. Why are you condemning me? How else? I don't know any skill. I have no other way of living. And then you have some problem there, no? A very old problem. Huh? In the Greek tragedies, they had this one. This became the central theme of one of their plays. I can't remember the names now, but I've told the devotees this before. You may not remember that one lady, the law in the country was that any man who becomes an enemy of the state, he cannot be buried by the state, by the principles, or cannot be laid to rest, and by anyone, or in any place in the state. It has to be rejected and put outside. Anyhow, there's one gentleman, he became an enemy of the state, and he fought in a battle with them, and he was killed. And then his sister, she could not. She had it was the duty of the sister or any family member to put the person who dies to rest properly. Uh, but because he was against the state, he could not be admitted into the state. His body could not be admitted, and the sister could not deal with him because the citizens were also prevented from having any relationship with that dead member, a dead person who was against the state. And like this, she had what do you call it? A decision to make that was ripping her heart apart. Here's my brother. My duty is to bury him so that he can have a future life in the higher world. with a proper burial procedure, and the government to say, no, you cannot do it because he was an enemy of the state. We can have nothing to do with him. So she was damned if she would and damned if she wouldn't. If she did it, damned if she didn't do it. Because it was the tradition of the people that the burial must take place in a proper way to give that person a future life of benefit. So what could she do? This was the tragedy. Ultimately, she went to her brother and interred him properly. The result was she became a victim, she was punished with exile because she disobeyed the law. So, like this, there are tragic events in the world because of conflict of moral duties, moral and legal duties. There are conflicts like that arise in life, and we have to deal with them according to our heart, what we understand sincerely. That's all. We cannot avoid it. And not that everything is clear and simple. Mhm. We like it to be clear and simple for us, but we have to consider the situation in a broader sense and not so clear and simple. And I don't mean to be insensitive to whatever you're thinking, but these things are there. Uh, so each of us has to work out these things. Sometimes it does not come down to some principle, but how we understand those things. I remember Guru Dev, Srila Maharaj used to tell, everything is an angle of vision. Everything in this world, everything in reality is an angle of vision. Even in the spiritual world we find Chandravali and Radharani, two opposed camps. Even in the spiritual, even about loving Krishna. We can love Krishna uh, uh, because he is the supreme person, or we can love Radharani because she is attracted by Krishna. Who would we consider the highest principle? That will depend on our own angle of vision. Do we love Krishna because he's the supreme, or do we love Radharani because she's the attractor of Krishna? And a servant, but she is more attractive to those who love her more than Krishna. Oh. Difficult. These things are there. And they're not all rational. Biggest mistake in the modern enlightenment world is that everything is rational. Not all rational at all. We don't go on those principles, although they are necessary for scientifically understanding things. That's not how the world works. They're not based on reason. There's nothing much. It's all based on taste, according to the Vaishnava tradition, rasa. What is our taste? And we are located in a particular region according to the taste that we are getting in our lives, that we find pleasant. So then how do you argue with that? I'm getting pleasure from this idea. I'm getting pleasure from that idea. We can't surpass pleasure, enjoyment, our own particular enjoyment. We have to surpass that as quite a feat because that's the highest. That's guiding everything else, rasa, and that is what positions us in the spiritual world. Also, the rasa, the taste that we have to fulfill it within us. Haribol.
Maharaj,
Yes.
today Ramanuja Acharya's appearance day, and we were reading something from this Navadip Dham Mahatmya, where Jagannath asked Ramanuja to visit Navadip. And actually, Ramanuja Acharya asked Lord Jagannath that why Mahaprabhu's thing is not revealed explicitly in scriptures. Then Jagannath tells Ramanuja that that Mahaprabhu's pastime and his activities are beyond the general logical explanation in the scriptures.
Mm.
So it is not given, only given in a, like a indirect hint here and there few places. So so that is very significant seems.
Yes, achintya beta beta, inconceivable. What do you do when you come to the inconceivable point? When both things are right and both things are opposing at the same time, opposite, and yet both things are one. Huh? So, like Ramanuja, he came to protest Shankaracharya's conception of oneness, of Advaita, non dualism. He came to present the Vaishnava conception of non dualism, condition, or Vaishishta Dvaita. Vaishishta Dvaita. Vashist means determinate, huh? Qualified, quality. That like a sugar cube. Sugar cube is a sugar cube, huh? But if you analyze it, you can say, oh, there's some sweetness here. There's a white color. There is a sweet taste. All these different properties are there in the sugar cube. It's not just, although it's just a sugar cube, is one thing, but it has many properties, many different properties. Property means what is owned by that thing. When you say something is my property, it means you own it. So the sugar owns many properties. It has cubicalness, it has whiteness, it has sweetness, so many different things like that. You try to take those things away from the sugar cube, it won't be a sugar cube anymore. If you try to take away the sweetness, it won't be, it won't exist. Although sweetness can be found in many things. You can find sweetness in an apple, the fructose, what they call. Generally, sugar means sucrose. And there are different types of sugars, sucrose, fructose, and all these things. They all have some type of different taste, sweetness. But although sweetness is different, therefore, than the sugar cube itself, because it's found in other things besides sugar. So the sweetness itself doesn't seem to be the same as the sugar. Still, without the sweetness, the sugar would not be what it is. Understand? Sweetness is found everywhere, just like whiteness. The sugar cube is white, but the cloud is white, the fence is white. Whiteness is found so many places. But yet, that whiteness of the sugar is also a part of it. Let's say purified sugar, a part of its nature. Then, is it different or the same as the sugar? If you take it away from the sugar, then there's no sugar. The sweetness must be there. Then we can call it sugar. But if you take it away, then there's no sweetness, there's no sugar. So it's different from the sugar, yet it's the same as the sugar. An intricate problem how to understand that. But the thing and its properties, thing is one thing, has a oneness. But the properties are many. So there's many in one. The one thing has many properties. One and many are both together there. How do we understand that? We can't. One and many. We know it's true. They're both one and many. But how do we separate them? How do we keep them together? How is that possible? Many are not the same as one, and yet they are together there in one thing. One and many. So Vashishta, Ramanuja taught that. He doesn't destroy the oneness to say that there are many properties or qualities or determinations or whatever you want to call it, or energies. Still one, but many is associated with it nonetheless. He taught like that. Uh, Shankaracharya only taught one, non-dual, and he was teaching that there's one and many. And then also the Madhvacharya. He was explaining more of the diversity, that the sweetness and other things are actually different in different places other than sugar. So there are actual differences also. And yet, uh, it is also correct that we can join the two. Mahaprabhu joined the two. Dvaita, Shista Dvaita, and Advaita. He joined these three. And his Achintya Beta Beta Tattva. Yes, there's difference. Yes, there is oneness. And yes, they both exist at the same time in an inconceivable way. His appearance is today. Jai Ramanujacharya Ki Jai.
Maharaj, when he heard about Mahaprabhu, he wanted to preach about Mahaprabhu. Then Lord forbade him. Don't do that. It will be only revealed completely after that pastime is, unmanifest. Otherwise, it is not proper. So don't do that.
He told to Ramanuja?
Jagannath told Ramanuja.
Oh,
He told only preach about Dasya Bhakti now, and then you will join Mahaprabhu's pastime.
I see.
So he came as Ananta Acharya in Mahaprabhu's pastime.
Okay. Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. All right. What time is it? Okay. Darius, I know this may be difficult for you. We pray
I was thinking,
that Krishna will give you some inspiration in the heart to understand all of it. By His grace, everything is possible. Everything, even the most difficult things. We all face many times these things. Many times.
Maharaj, I was thinking Teresh difficulty is not like the difficulty of Muni Maharaj's parents. Muni Maharaj don't pick their phone and don't talk to them. They have to call me.
Oh,
And then I have to tell them and try to explain them, or I have the opportunity to discuss with them and explain them. So like that.
Well, hope. As far as I'm concerned, it'll never be like that.
that's
Muni
good.
Maharaj once become little like there is some discussion between his mother and himself, and he said like that, like you, I have many parents in past life. And then mother become also very angry. It also like you many childrens I have. She also told him like that.
Yes, Mahaprabhu also. His mother did not want him to leave Sadas. Imagine if your son was Mahaprabhu. Then, mother of the Mahaprabhu, her attachment to her son was infinitely great. Infinitely great. She had the Supreme Lord as her son. Then what to do? See? She had that relationship. And the separation from her son was intolerable. So at least she was able to make some compromise. All right, if you want to leave the house, leave be, then at least you must not go to Vrindavan, but go to Jagannath Puri. So then, if you go to Jagannath Puri, people will be coming and going from here in Mayapur to there and Jagannath Puri. They will be coming back, and I can hear about you from them. I at least hear about you, what's going on with you. If you go to Vrindavan, then there's no travelers going back and forth so easily, and I will not be able to hear anything about you. So Mahaprabhu agreed. All right, I'll make that concession because you are my mother. You have given me my body, and then I am beholding to you, and I will have to do this for your request. And that happened. So, what to speak of ordinary relationship between child and parent? The child wants to become Krishna conscious, leave everything and take up the service of the Lord, and the parents are crying. But that relationship, however strong it may be, it cannot compare with Mother Sachi Devi's love for the Supreme Lord, Mahaprabhu. Our love is finite, her love is infinite. Huh? What is that pain of separation? Even Radharani and Krishna, they also experience. Their love for each other is so intense, yet yet Krishna has to leave to go to Dwarka, and Radharani is feeling so much pain that she is practically dying. The gopis are trying to encourage her, please don't die. We all love you. We want you to stay, and uh, don't don't worry about Krishna. Forget about him. He is a bad man and no good. And it's leaving you like that without any consideration for your suffering. Then you should forget about it. But she cannot. Her love is so deep, she cannot forget. Anyhow, so she has to suffer her whole life. The gopis and Radharani, 125 years, it is said, that they suffered separation from the Lord. So love, the joy of love, and the pain of separation, they are both there in the absolute truth. God is not devoid of both qualities, oppositional qualities. He is harmonizing both. Uh, Difficult to accept. Yet, it's like you can accept the face of the coin, but you can't accept the tail of the coin. The front side, but not the back side. No, no question. You can only accept one side, one face. Coin has two faces. If you want the coin, you have to get both. Krishna consciousness is also love of union and pain of separation. Krishna can solve that problem. When he wants, he knows our heart, and he can give peace to our heart. He'll find some way. He'll find some way. And basically, everything is based upon our own self. I have to change. I can't change the environment. I can't change Krishna. I have to change. Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Uma Devi has such a beautiful smile, huh? She's always smiling so sweetly. Jai. You have to go somewhere, Kanapriya Didi, you look like you're concerned with something.
No, my daughter was asking. My daughter is here today.
Oh, right.
She was here. She was
Haribo,
asking,
Haribo.
where are you? I
I
said, I'm in
see.
America.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
But I
Maharaj.
wanted, sorry, Maharaj, I just wanted to just sympathize. It's difficult when your children go and leave. Both my children have left, and she's just come back to visit today. But it's I think always difficult for a mother when their children
Of
grow
course.
up. make their decisions and do their things, and you feel totally out of control. And
Yeah.
it's,
I am. I'm not. I guess the. I'm all for independence and go out and do your thing and do what works for you, what you feel aligned with. I would never. That's not what I'm feeling. I just. It's the when your daughter leaves, she's still connected to you. You still talk with her. She's still and it's different. It's not the same. There's total
girls
separation.
girls are different than boys. Actually, my son, is very different. It's very different. He's different. I don't. He's doing his thing. Like, even if sometimes I ring, he won't ring. He won't answer till maybe a week later. And it's not that he doesn't think about me. It's just he has a different. It's just different. I think with boys, I don't know how to explain it. You know, and I think it's giving them that space to be who they are. And
Of course. Yes.
it's a hard thing. It's for a mother, and I think that's the thing about where you're talking about detachment. It's not about detaching your compassion and your love, but it's knowing that they belong to Krishna and they have their own path. And we've you've done an amazing job with your son, and he's doing also amazing service and so much to be proud of. And
I say that all the time. I
it's
definitely
incredible, really, that you've managed to do that, and help in having your son. So I think it's a sense of the detachment is about what Maharaj was talking about in terms of understanding the greater picture and the greater whole, that then you can then surrender to something that is not out of your control and be more accepting to certain things. They all have their own path, and even if we look back and I think about how I was when I was younger and how I just went off, did things, and I was, thinking about how my parents may be feeling, or they might be missing me. You're young and you have your life's mission almost, So, and I just think it's so amazing that you're here every week and having that association, and it's incredible. Really, it's incredible.
She's really lucky, actually.
Yeah.
Mahaprabhu left his mother, and they didn't have any internet or Zoom or anything like that.
Yeah.
She never even got a chance to see him after that, or talk to him or anything.
Yeah.
And she used to make prasadam, every day for Mahaprabhu, even though he wasn't there. And she was surprised that when after she offered the plate to Mahaprabhu, the food in the pot disappeared and the food on the plate disappeared. And she was wondering what the heck is what is going on. But then she realized that Mahaprabhu was telling her that he is receiving her love, is receiving her service, and it was okay.
Time Maharaj used to cook 2 to 3 times, thinking
Yes.
that some cat or dog has eaten. Maybe.
At first, she could not understand, but Mahaprabhu was sending the message to her that he is accepting her love and her service.
Maharaj, this Dr. Prasanna, he was telling me for last few days that he wants to organize one conference on like consciousness. Some of his students and his faculties wants to join, so he wants to have 2 3 speakers from our side, that we can invite, and he can arrange the students and faculties.
Okay.
So, so so do you think we can have an event, Maharaj, online?
Of course, why not? We had our conference. All that's going online now. All right. So, last words I'd like to say, if I can, that everything depends upon what we think, what we are thinking. We create our own pain, we create our own pleasure. Everything depends upon what we think, how you see it, the angle of vision you are taking. That is up to us. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Srila Bhakti Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Jai.
Once Vanchakapataruvisha Kripasidnivyevacha Patitana Pavanavyo
Bye.
Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha.
Dandavad.
Haribo, Haribo, Jai
Haribo Vaishnava Namah.
Jai, Maharaj, Prabhu ki Jai.
Bye.
Dhanavad. Umadevi ki Jai.
Jai Dandavad.
Teres ki Jai.
Bye.
Jai.
Shamila ki Jai.